It's an honor to be here with you, Caterina, because you sum up many things that are very important. You bring in cognitive science, you bring in environmental awareness, creativity, design, architecture. You teach in various nations, and therefore you deal with different mentalities. So I would like to begin by asking you how your very unique approach to design evolved.
I've been working a lot in the idea of adaptive design, working a lot also with science of complexity to establish what is robust, what you can use all the time, and what is changing according with contemporary society. So it's really something I've been developing to try to define something that is repetitive but innovating all the time. So you can add innovation without putting too much risk. I direct a small research unit at Columbia University, and I also teach at the Politecnico. The name of this research lab is Nonlinear Solution Unit. And I think my question was, you have a lot of paradigm, and when, as an architect, you have to take a decision, you have the engineer, the acoustic guy, the money guy, the marketing guy, you have a lot of guy and girl telling you, you should do like this, so you have so many constraints. So as an architect, how you go? You cannot just say budget is the issue, time. You have to see what is the most important parameter in this moment. And it's not that you sacrifice the other. The other, they come together. And so you have to make some decision. And it's not that you say, I do an average. No, you see everything evolving together. So data become an important part, but not, I call them personal number, because in a certain moment you need to make a decision what is really important in this moment. No? And so science of complexity is how you put together all these evolutionary parameters evolving non-linearly. So for example, when I designed this office space toolbox, I've been taking some aspect of the typical co-working space, so a lot of shared space, no barrier, a common space, and some property of typical corporate environment, so privacy and closed environment. So you start to edit the property. There was the acoustician saying, this is not good for the acoustic part. But you say, okay, but if you want to share a space, it's better to have a little bit of a noise rather to be in a box.
Yeah, sure.
So you need to make a decision in a certain moment, and the other things come together. So even I've been getting used to that because I was designing a lot of store, and I could see how the variable will move together. And then I start to work with scientists, to energy engineer, and how you put together all this. An example of science of complexities. For many years, they have been trying to explain how the bird fly. Yeah. That is the flock theory. You know, when a bird fly in the sky, that you see all this nice curve. And there is no way to explain that. There is no math. Something is just. The rule is the bird number 2 follow the bird number 1.
You have a very pragmatic scientific approach. On the other hand, the fact that you're adaptive means that you're quite open. You're non-linear. You've definitely tapped into the need to translate solutions or to bring solutions in a time of such exponential change. And you're clearly creative, or you couldn't be an architect. So what do you see amongst these variables that you analyze as being the main priority in designing for the upcoming future?
I have been working with palm leaves. And this seems very simple, but in reality, the palm leaves, they can connect here. There are different types of palm leaves. If they connect here, they are more solid, but they resist less to the winds. Right. If they are open like this, they are less structurally solid, but they resist to the wind. So this is an example of adaptive thinking in the sense that you know you're working with this material, but this material needs to respond to this different environment. And this is the same in the architecture field. In terms of responsibility, as a professor, I want to teach to my students, especially the Italian one that are mostly international, like this student from Kazakhstan, a lot from China. There is an emergency to really teach to the students that architecture cannot be the same because they are literally developing new city. It's not like in Italy that you do very little things. So as a professor, I really feel this responsibility to say you really have to understand how architecture can adapt. So the example of the palm tree, you can have an object you know, but it can adapt to the different situation. So it's not a rigid situation that is always the same. No? Especially we assist in the development of new city of 1 million inhabitants per time. And most of the time they are just realized as a copy of a copy of a copy. This as a professor I think is very important. In Italy I've been working to the idea of the somehow micro-social bomb. Very small space having the capacity to change the attitude of people, like Toolbox or the instant installation when I did it in the Soho for a homeless shelter. So how with a very small space you manage to activate a lot of social reaction. So this is fun. People, they are scared to be in an open space. If you create a space that is vibrating like this, people will touch and will smile and will feel comfortable to smile to the next one. And they will feel less uncomfortable in a public space. What are the physical properties that make the change? In this case, is the vibration to the body pressure. The movement from inspiration to fact is, you say, playful. So what is playful? That there is a reaction to touch, to vibration. There is, when you blur, for example, you will see, when you can see and not see, like this,
Yeah.
be in the back, you
Yes.
When you can see and not see,
Yes.
people feel allowed to be curious,
Right.
and they stop the urban
The isolation.
isolation. It changed like this. It's amazing. It's cool.
Wow.
And so this is not just playful. You have to understand what is the physical property that makes
Right.
this.
So you teach in a number of significant institutions.
Yeah.
Tell us which and what the difference is in terms of energy, vibe, motivation. So give us your panorama.
I teach in New York at Columbia University. I teach in Providence at Rhode Island School of Design. And then I teach at the Politecnico di Torino, IED Milano, IED Torino, and IED Torino. So I teach all the time the same thing. You take a geometry and you edit it in accord with the performance, because I really want everybody to understand the relation between form, performance, and then it can be a urban experience or it can be a product experience, but the method more or less is always the same, right? Yes. And so the difference of the student, I think that the in-American student, they are more learning by doing, especially in RISD, so they test a lot, they really test a lot. The Italian students are more about knowledge, so as professor I try to mix, because the American, sometimes they do too much. The Italian, they are sometimes shy to start to work, so I tend to invert the cycle. No, with the Italian I say, don't think, do, and to the American it's not that I say don't do, think, but they are more doable, more prototype, and so you try to mix a little bit. I think my role is to balance a little bit this aspect. So to balance the relation between know-how and know to do. American students, sometimes they want a cooler profile, And this is a look issue.
What are the most challenging questions that your students ask you about the future?
Can you write me a recommendation letter? Usually. I was asking to the student, what is important for you about a city? So there were two big groups of students. The Paris group, it was why you want to go in Paris at the end is because it's a romantic city that you kiss each other. So we were trying to understand how you design a city now that people
Promotes kissing?
that promotes kissing.
A kissable city.
The kissable city. And then the second point was I saw that many of the international students, the quality of the city was to have air to breathe. Yeah. Air to breathe, right, is what emerged the last time. I'm impressed. It's the first 3 years that I have really students being so aware of sustainability, not in terms of fashion, but in terms really of effect. The palm tree installation is a project that came from an invitation from the Everglades National Park in Miami. It's this park that is full of crocodile and alligator. And in reality, as an architect, I always do when I do serious project, I try to do a very fun one to open the mind a little bit. And so I was in the park for 1 month, in the middle of the park, in the middle of the alligator, living with the ranger, looking at the star. And the goal was to find a way to create an installation without, in a kind of constructive way, let's say. So basically, we have been talking with the people of the fire department, of the invasive species, of the danger of the park. And we selected these palm trees that were kind of too many, too abundant, so they had to remove them in any case. So what we did is to work with some volunteers from the Iowa High School, and they were helping to clean the park, so we were collecting these palm leaves and we were putting that together. And again, working with the material property was nice because again, you can choose if you want to put them together very dense, and so you will have less transparency, more dense. We decided to put them like this, that they create some little dots, and so it creates a pattern, and again you question. So it was a very nice way also for American students that usually they consider sustainability as a duty rather than something fun. So they had a lot of fun. We were taking measures and so on.
Andrea. Vieni, Andrea. Andrea makes these fantastic chairs that we're sitting on. How did you two come together?
I started to work with solid wood to research a different kind of shape, and it came out this kind of form. And these are my first prototype that I made it by myself with hands. So I started a sort of a small production, and in a green way. So I was looking for wood, choosing the right pieces. Also, sometimes there was pieces used, and I started to make them. So when I met Caterina, she was making this installation, and I had this project in the background. When I designed it, I have imagined them in a situation like this. The beautiful part is the backrest that is in one piece of wood that is going up, and it's going in the front as the front leg. So it's a sort of cantilever chair, but in wood. And the other one, it's a long research to reach the function, because I wanted to design a chair in wood that it's folding, but it's going to fold in a different way. So I show you. It's very easy. It's folded like a book, and you can deliver, or you can stack.
Or just walk away with
Or
it.
just walk away like with that, because there is this handle part. This one is I got it also Red Dot Design Award in 2012 for the idea.
You two meet on the ground of an approach, and certainly with a high priority in terms of sustainability. So I would like to know from both of you whether you feel that we will, as a species, really successfully overcome the huge challenges that we face.
We have to be pessimistic and optimistic because I don't see this big apocalypse in the sense that if 6,000 years ago they discovered that with the rice it was easier to feed many more people, so suddenly more people could coexist. So I'm kind of optimistic that there will be a general arrangement. I don't know. I have this feeling. What do you think, Andrea?
It's something that has to start from the big countries, I think. So the new economy, the new economics field, they have to start to change the rule of the game, because the new economy, the new country, they have to apply the change.
I was invited to do a conference at the UNESCO last summer, and it was in sustainable energy. I was invited with a fun windmill I designed. There was a competition about energy system and public space. I did with my colleague Eduardo Bellamor. We did this proposal of wind turbine that they are very colorful. They turn like this, and there's a system of turbine that really work. They are the Darius turbine. Instead of going like this, the Darius turbine, they go like this. They have the quality that they collect multi-directional wind. I published this render. It went all over the web, and then now there is a manufacturer who want to do them, and I'm like, no. But so we are doing the turbine.
What do you mean, no? Why are you saying no?
Because then you have the financing euro, because when you do a turbine is 200,000 euros, so it's kind of it's not let's prototype a chair. It's like is let's say something that is more dangerous in terms of mistaking.
That's very cool. She's prototyping a wind turbine. Okay. Feeding the planet, which is something that people are going to be saying a lot over the next months. What does that mean to you?
Look, for me, is already there. Something is changing in general, as a general awareness of what is going on. And so I think this event is going to be very important as a making very visible what is really happening in this moment.
What are your expectations?
To listen and see what is going on is a big expectation, because I usually have a lot of my idea. I'm very happy to listen.